Hey, welcome to the program, my friends. Nice to have you here. Lakey Unleashed, live from the House of Lakey, all across America. We stream onto the platforms of the YouTubes and the Twitter and the or X, as we call it, the Facebook, Rumble. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Good to have you here. Pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to the next hour or so with you. It's Lakey Unleashed, the daily update. Don't forget. We're here every morning, bright and early, 8 o'clock Mountain Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Pacific Time, Monday through Friday, good Lord willing, and we give you a little update, go through the news, and run through all the things that are happening in the world around, bring some great interviews. If you're new to the show, I'm Jimmy. Right there on the screen, you can see my name. So free from years of confines in the world of corporate radio, and I was recently downsized, if you will, automated, and they sent me to the curb. Yesterday, we celebrated 27 years of radio and media in my life, and broadcasting primarily in Colorado, but not necessarily only in Colorado, and fill in work across America, national shows as well. But 27 years yesterday, and we continued our 28th year now, free and unleashed from the confines of radio. And it's a new little format. Appreciate you hopping on here. Thanks. A lot of you sent messages yesterday, said thank you. Some folks said they listened to me back even in the days I did about 2-year stint doing Christian music radio, and somebody will have to get in the comment or the commentary of the state of Christian music radio these days. We need to make it great again. But anyway, yeah, just a couple of years. Some of you remember me back in from those days, my days as a Christian music DJ extraordinaire that I was. And thank you. That's always fun to know. That goes back a while, about 27 years. That's when I started in the Christian music world. It'd be good to have all of you here, and share the word, share it on your page. If you're watching on Facebook, good morning. If you're watching on the X, good morning to you. If you're watching Rumble, there's so many platforms around. We're on the Red Wave America. Matter of fact, if you're on the Facebook, you can comment. As a matter of fact, most of the platforms allow you to comment. Even Rumble on the right-hand side, you can see where you're at. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. But you can interact where it says live comments or comments. So we see those here in the studio. And why don't you do this? Let us know not only where you are listening at, but what platform you're on. We'll see it. Or maybe if you're on a different page, maybe you're seeing it on Red Wave America, Media Equalizer. Let us know. If you're on the Jimmy Lakey fan page, hi, I'm Jimmy. Thanks for being on my fan page. I do appreciate it. All right, I know we're streaming across America right now, really around the globe. People can watch us. We've had people overseas tune into this. So I don't know where you're watching at, but we broadcast live, as I mentioned, aforementioned, from Colorado. And it's a national podcast, broadcast live stream, but we broadcast from Colorado. And I looked out my window here at the House of Lakey and the Lakey Entertainment Towers complex and the House of Lakey, and I see that there is snow outside. It is actively snowing at this moment. When I woke up early this morning, I said, I don't know. I like looking at snow like on a postcard. All right. I want to see the snow on the postcard. I don't want to have to live in it. I don't want to have to clean the driveway. I don't want that. As a matter of fact, this is the week I should have been in Africa because they're not getting snow there. Jim says, good morning from snowy Fort Collins, Colorado. Laramie, Wyoming. Scott's listening on the Rumble. See, I appreciate it. Love to know where everybody's at. Ray earlier this morning was in the communist enclave of Oregon. Ray, you be safe up there. Those commies are bat crap crazy. You be very safe, Ray. Take care of yourself and be cautious out there. Anyway, it's snowing, and I have an idea. If you've been praying for snow, praying for a blizzard or something, please just go to Dairy Queen. All right. If you're praying for a blizzard, get your ass to Dairy Queen and stop this nonsense. This has got to stop. It needs to be. We don't like this. I like snow in the mountains. I don't like it down here where I'm here. So it's just snowing where you're at. I hear that all across the fruited plains, we got a big blizzard, big snowstorm. I'm sitting here in the House of Lakey, and I'm loving it. I can look out one of the windows and see outside and see kids walking like to the bus stop to catch the bus and go to school. That's nice. That's very good. Good for them. They're not canceling school. Sometimes they cancel schools in Colorado sometimes, and you're like, man, we become pansies. We would have gone to school in Texas like this. Anybody remember the days of waiting for a school day, though? Waiting for a school day. Waiting for a school day. You'd have to watch the bottom of the screen as if you were watching like a first round draft pick, the ticker tape at the bottom of the screen to find out if you got a snow day. I remember when I first got into radio 27 years ago, we would actively, the school districts were actually faxing us information on whether they were going to close that morning, and we'd have to check the fax machine, and we'd go on live update on the old 710 KNUS where I was on. and would have to give the update. I knew people just gathered around like it was a fireside chat with President Roosevelt, waiting to hear if the schools were canceled. So it's it's just fantastic that people are that people now are still going to school. But now you just get a text on your phone. When my son's school would get canceled, my phone would ring, beep, and it'd say school is canceled or school is delayed. But it looks like kids are walking the streets outside of the Lakey Entertainment Towers, going to the city bus stop or wherever the hell they're going, and they're going to catch a bus or get in a van with no windows. Whatever they're going to do, good luck to them, and God bless and keep them safe. Comments coming in. I love it. I've watched for you from the beginning on KCOL. You are blessed and love. I'm still listening to the maestro. Thank you again for figuring it out. Hey, Sharon Lee, thank you for the kind words. And I'm still trying to figure it out. We're trying to make a run at this thing on the Lakey Unleashed stream. And if you'd like to help us out, you can always help us out. First of all, this is live and free. There's also the Patreon page. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. You can subscribe there. 7-day free trial, $9.95. Exclusive content only found there. And we're starting to lock down some advertisers. So if you want to advertise with us, we'd love to have you, because right now it's a very expensive hobby for us. I mean, an email at info@jimmylakey.com, info@jimmylakey.com. You ready to dive in some news today? Yeah. Again, if you're praying for snow in a blizzard, please stop. Just go to Dairy Queen. Get your ass to Dairy Queen. Go for a blizzard there. No more of this snow. I hope it stops very, very soon. All right, let me go through some of the news of the day. Anybody see Kamala Harris yesterday having to certify the election? Kamala Harris had to stand up and certify the election and declare that she had her butt kicked by Donald J. Trump, and the election was done that way. Kamala certified the election yesterday, and it's fantastic to see that. And so it is official. The reign of error of Joe Biden has come to a conclusion. I don't know if you saw Kamala Harris certify the election, but it was a glorious thing. And some of the smirks and the memes that came out of that were quite funny. And I have this meme that we'll show you here that Kamala Harris actually paid what? She's sending out fundraising letters even to this day. Sending out fundraising letters trying to raise a heck of a lot of money for paying off her campaign debt, and yet she spent like $2 million to get Oprah Winfrey there. And I've got a meme here that says Kamala Harris put up she paid $2 million for Oprah, and Donald Trump put a sticker on a trash truck, and he still beat her. And that's true. That's a funny meme that we have there. That Kamala Harris put a sticker. Kamala Harris paid $2 million for Oprah alone. Donald Trump put a big sticker on a trash truck, and somehow he beat her. And yesterday it was certified as the case. Joe Biden's legacy is going to be determined through the years. I think most of us watching this probably feel that Joe Biden's legacy is not all that splendid. Maybe that's the statue they'll put up out in Washington, D.C. Joe Biden, a monument maybe celebrating his legacy of laundering money, taking money from China, taking money from all these Russia oligarchs, his son. The Biden crime family, the Joe Biden monument celebrating his legacy. I'm going to have this. You can have some fun with this. We're going to have some fun with this. But it's a question of the day. If you had to find one thing nice to say about Joe Biden, what would you say? Can come up with some creative ones. They can be funny, but please, what would be one thing that you would like to say nice about Joseph Rubalud Biden? I'd love to hear from you. What's the one nice thing you can say about Joe Biden? For instance, one nice thing I would like to say is that Joe Biden is going to be leaving Washington, D.C. very soon. I think that's a very nice thing to say about Joe Biden. What else would you like to say about Joe Biden? Nice things you would like to say about Joe Biden. Somebody's going to say, is that a serious question? No, it can be a very fun question. What's a nice thing you'd like to say about Joe Biden? For instance, Joe Biden he's not in jail. That's for him. That's nice. That's nice. It's a polite thing rather than saying he's a demented old fool, rather than say he's a crooked president, probably going to go down in history, at least as the most awful president policy and just human beings in our lifetime, at least maybe in the history of America. That's a mean thing to say, but can you say something nice about Joe Biden? So what's one thing you can say about Joe Biden? But I want something nice. All right. What's one nice thing you can say about Joseph Rubalud Biden? Did some research yesterday. You saw Hillary Clinton. We talked about this. George Soros got the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and Liz Cheney received something called the Presidential Citizens Medal. There's the image we showed yesterday about Joe Biden presenting George Soros with the Medal of Freedom. And I just saw one thing. Kathy gets the hang of this. One nice thing you can say about Joe Biden, he has nice teeth. He has nice teeth. Isn't that like from the song, the movie Deliverance or something? Well, you got a pretty mouth. Is that what you're saying about Joe Biden? You got a pretty mouth there, boy. He's got nice teeth. So you see, that's the hang of it. What can you say nice about Joe Biden? His hair plugs, they seem to be pretty good. They seem to have nice work done on the hair plugs. Very nice. Nice things you can say about Joe Biden. That is the question of the day. So I did some research yesterday, and I was talking about the Presidential Medal of Freedom and what it is, and that's the highest honor that a president can bestow upon you. And it's let me pull up the research here. I had it last night, and I think I just closed the window accidentally. The Presidential Citizenship Medal. That's what Liz Cheney got. She didn't get the full Monty. She only got the Citizenship Medal, and I still can't figure out why she got only the Citizens Medal, but she did. And I'll read it to you from the Wikipedia. The President's Citizens Medal is an award bestowed by the President of the United States. It's the second highest civilian award in the United States. It's second only to the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It was established in 1969, November the 13th, which November 13th in every year happens to be my birthday. Please never forget that. It was established by President Nixon. It recognizes an individual who has performed exemplary deeds or services for his or his own country. Only citizens of the United States are eligible. And it's second to the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So you have had to have performed exemplary deeds or services for his country or fellow citizens. So Joseph Rubalod Biden decided that Liz Cheney had performed wonderful deeds. Now, if you're going to get the Presidential Medal of Honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, this is one that you have to, it marks meritorious contribution of the security and national interest of the United States. You have been active in world peace, cultural, or other significant public or private endeavors. So promoting world peace and really making an impact on the world, and yet somehow like Robert De Niro got the Presidential Medal of Freedom. George Soros gets a Presidential Medal of Freedom, and Liz Cheney only gets a Citizens Medal. Basically, Liz Cheney got a red ribbon. She got the runner-up. She got a participation trophy. We don't like you enough to give you the Presidential Medal of Freedom, you jackwagon. But hey, we'll give you the runner-up prize. You know, it still looks good, I guess, on the mantle or whatever you do with these medals. But there is a difference, and it was distinct that she was not going to get the Medal of Freedom. She decided that she was going to. She got second place there. Got second place. All right, some of you making some great comments on the question of the day. Say one nice thing about Joe Biden. One nice thing about Joe Biden. He's a beacon of hope for people with mental health issues. See, that's what I'm getting at. See, we can be positive here. We're not all mean and nasty. Nice thing about Joe Biden, he knows what he likes. He likes ice cream. See, this is beautiful. It's bringing a tear to my eye right now. It's bringing a tear to my eye. It really is. All right, the question of the day is say one nice thing about Joe Biden. His hair plugs turned to be good. I would say he has some great kids, but nah, that's a lie. He's got a great kid. Now that didn't seem to work out well for him. All right, Liz Cheney got that Presidential Citizenship Medal. We talked about that. Anybody see this thing that Justin Trudeau of the world of Canada, he resigned yesterday as the prime minister. We looked it up yesterday. Producer Chad and I were having a discussion. Yeah, I like that. My fellow Canadians, you cannot fire me because I quit. And that's exactly what was going to happen. They're a parliamentarian form of government, although they're a constitutional monarchy under the rule and reign of the King of England. We, for years, said the Queen of England. But the parliament will choose a new replacement. And right now, Justin Trudeau's party is in charge of the parliament. And his polling numbers and their party polling numbers were going so bad that it looked like at the upcoming election, they were going to get wiped out, like 60% majority against him. And it was going to be bad. So he basically lost support in his own party, and he decided he was going to resign. And that way his party now will select somebody within their party to be the new prime minister until the national election happens, and then they're expecting a change of power. So what they're doing is kicking old Justin Trudeau to the curb, hoping to mitigate the damage that they're expecting in the general election by having someone besides Justin Trudeau be the face of the party. So your thoughts on that? And by the way, it is fascinating that Justin Trudeau came down, tried to be a big boy, and is sat down at Mar-a-Lago, and that's when he starts whining and complaining about how the the tariffs were going to hurt his country. Please, Mr. Trump. And Mr. Trump said, well, maybe you'll be a good governor then. We'll make you a 51st state. And Justin Trudeau goes home, and President Trump was tweeting it out and saying things like that. And basically, he emasculated Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau showed that he didn't have a pair of big boy panties, and Justin Trudeau is out. They'll pick a new one, but Justin Trudeau's gone. And I would have to say that Donald J. Trump helped remove the tyrant Justin Trudeau. Remember the truckers in Canada, how tyrannical Justin Trudeau was to them and to all the people of Canada during the COVID-19. Remember, Justin Trudeau was a tyrant. He was one of the worst of the worst. And I think a resignation could not have happened to a nicer person. By the way, Donald Trump talked about Canada being the 51st state. He also keeps talking about he wants Greenland. And he says, no one's going to take care of Greenland more than we will. We're going to really make it pretty. We're going to make Greenland great again, kind of thing. And he says we need it for security. We would make it a secure place to that North Atlantic there. We could put some things there. Well, if you've been following this, the president of Greenland or the prime minister, whatever the title, the leader of Greenland, they are under the rule of Denmark. They're under, I wouldn't say a colony, but it's a territory of Denmark. And the leader of Greenland says, hey, we want to be independent. We don't want to be with Denmark anymore. And now we hear that yesterday President Trump is saying, hey, Don Jr. is going to take a delegation to Greenland and they're going to check out the lay of the land. So they're really doubling down on this Greenland thing. And even the prime minister or the president of Greenland has recently said, we don't want to be a part of Denmark anymore. We would prefer to be independent nation. So it's going to be interesting to watch, but they're very serious. And Don Jr. is heading off to Greenland coming up very, very soon. I think this week he's heading out there. Maybe it's after the inauguration, but he's heading there as well. Hey, let me pause. And speaking of inaugurations, make a big announcement to you. I know a lot of you are in Colorado. Maybe you're out of state. You might want to get an airplane ticket for this. We're going to have an epic inauguration day party. There's two locations, but we're going to do it at one location called Casbar Cigar in Lafayette, Colorado. Lafayette, if you're out of state, out of the area, it's just outside of Boulder, Colorado, the land of the whack jobs. And it's an enclave of Boulder and Denver in the northern metro area. And if you're out of state, you can fly in for it. It's a free event. It's going to be a Casbar Cigar. By mention of the name, there are going to be cigars there. And we're going to celebrate that morning. Matter of fact, this very stream, we're going to do live from the cigar shop, the cigar lounge called Casbar. It's in Lafayette, Colorado. January the 20th, we'll get started right about 8 o'clock. We'll let you in the doors, and I'm going to do the live stream right there on Inauguration Day. Now, if you're not able to be with us at the inauguration party, that's okay. We're still going to do the show live. It's going to be a big-time broadcast, but we will be live and in public on January the 20th at the Casbar Cigar in Lafayette, Colorado. And again, I'm serious. Some of you should fly in from out of town. I know some of you are watching all across America. It's a once in a, it's kind of like the time that I got invited to a couple of inaugurations. I've been invited to a few. And the first one, I said, I've got to go and maybe never get invited again. The second one, I said, I think I can fit it in my schedule. The third one, I didn't go at all. And the inaugurations, so this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity for once every 4 years. And so if you got to fly in, man, get your butt in on an airplane, drive in, drive up, stay the night somewhere, and sleep in a shelter somewhere. We got plenty of shelters in Colorado. And come celebrate with us January the 20th, Casbar Cigar in Lafayette, Colorado. And that is, again, we've got people all across America. So it's a one of the great cigar lounges in America. And there are cigars available there. And we'll celebrate that morning big time. January the 20th, public party. Come see us, Casbar Cigar. This is their Lafayette location. If you're Googling it, they have a location on the south side of town. This is on the north end in Lafayette, Colorado. Love to have you January 20th for our big cigar party in Lafayette, Colorado. Come see us there. All right. Now, what else do we have here? Oh, somebody have been begging me to make sure I don't go stray from the Colorado roots and give you some Colorado news, but let me do that. But let me also catch up on the thoughts that some of you have on Justin Trudeau resigning as a prime minister. Christopher says is an example of a bully who was weak, and once there was a neighbor who was stronger than him, he ran to the hills. See, that's probably a very good analogy and truism about Justin Trudeau. He thought he was a badass. He thought he could push his people around. And now the people of Canada saying, wow, they got a real president there in America. We got this sissy boy here, Justin Trudeau. Anybody ever followed the rabbit trail of The mystery of the paternal origins of Justin Trudeau. Look that up. Just say, and there's a lot of rabbit trails out there in the conspiracy world about his. Well, I know Prime Minister Trudeau, his father served in Canada during the days of Reagan, but Justin Trudeau was a drama teacher, and because of his family name, climbed to the heights of politics there. But there's been speculation, just saying speculation out there, that maybe maybe his paternity is in question. There's a speculation in the internet world. And let me just throw this out there as you look it up. Fidel Castro. It's a real thing. All right, let's go. A couple of stories in Colorado, and we used to say as California goes, so goes America. And so now we have a problem in Colorado that Colorado has been infiltrated by a lot of Californians. And, Colorado has now become at least a purple, if not a blue state. We're more purple. This last election looked better, but we're still a purple state. But there's some weird stuff that happens in Colorado, and a lot of you listening in Colorado. So let me give you some stories. One of the stories I want to get to you is right before Christmas, right as we were kind of shutting down this program, there was a story about the head of the Jefferson County School Board, the head of the Jefferson County Jeffco chief. Let me read the story from KDVR, which is Fox 31 in Denver. The former Jefferson County chief was found dead over the holidays just recently. He was out in Maryland. Well, he was the chief of schools. His name was David Weiss, and he was terminated from the Jefferson County Public Schools on December 19th, just as the kids were heading off to winter break. And I don't know if you heard this, but he was terminated because he was under criminal investigation, and he was under criminal investigation involving the possession of child sexual assault material, is what they said. But he was the nature of a suspected criminal activity involving child pornography. He was dismissed as the head of the Jefferson County, Colorado School District. And then all of a sudden over the weekend, they announced that he had died suddenly. And I guess he's no longer going to be investigated. There's no word as to what was the cause of death, but he was in Washington County's Maryland, and they found him dead. And more information about the death of this guy that was under criminal investigation for child pornography is going to come out. So that's a very interesting story. There's also a story in, speaking of schools in Colorado, a teacher in Western Colorado, Montrose, has been arrested. Investigators say that they found that she was sending inappropriate messages to a student. Police in Montrose have arrested 44-year-old Lisa Thayer, a teacher at the Colorado West Christian School, so a private school, after a student's father reported the communications to police. The student wasn't identified, but police say they were a teen, and they were arrested on Friday. Thayer was arrested on Friday. Officials offered few details, but she faces 2 counts of unlawful electronic sexual communications and a single count of each conspiracy to commit tampering with physical evidence and tampering with physical evidence. So the 2 sad teacher cases and the leadership cases in Colorado making the news. What else do I have? News from Colorado. Colorado legislature kicks off tomorrow. If you're in Colorado, you know that we have 4 or 5 months a year, that the 5 months, 4.5 months that it's so many weeks every year that the legislature gets together and they do some stupid stuff every year. And Jared Polis, being stupid himself, he signs it into law. And so the stupidity begins tomorrow at the Colorado State Legislature. Hold on to your wallet in Colorado. The legislature is about to kick in. Now, we talked about this yesterday. Colorado has gone hands-free. You're no longer allowed to have a phone in your hand. If you touch your phone, you're going to go to prison or something. They decided that was a good thing. Jared Polis decided that he's saving America and saving the world by banning plastic bags at the grocery store. You got to pay for the plastic bags if you can find them. But now they're even charging for the paper bags. The plastic bags are charging. If you basically don't carry your groceries out in your arms or bring some sack from home, you got to pay for the groceries. And it's stupidity. Jared Polis has always signed stupid stuff that comes out of the legislature, and more stupid stuff is coming tomorrow as the legislature convenes. Jared Polis also he has a hands-free thing. He's put wolves out to destroy agricultural communities and livestock, and for importing wolves from Canada that even Justin Trudeau was smart enough to get rid of. But Jared Polis, because of his man love, Marlin, has decided that Marlin does better pillow talk when Marlin gets wolves in town. So they ship the wolves in here. All the stupid things. Oh, Jared Polis also went after the mascots in Colorado. You cannot be a warrior as a team. You cannot be a chief as a team. You cannot, because they say that you can barely be an explorer, because it would refer to Native Americans. And Jared Polis evidently hates Native Americans. He says he does all this stuff to help the environment, but there's no proof that a plastic bag being at the local Kroger has helped the environment or not. As a matter of fact, a lot of folks repurpose those. So anyway, Jared Polis is going to have more opportunity to be stupid starting tomorrow in Colorado. Hold on to your wallet. Because speaking of, what did Christopher say earlier about Justin Trudeau? He's an example of a bully who was weak, and once their neighbor, the strong neighbor, moves in, he runs for the hills. This is also a description of Jared Polis, a very weak and cowardly, wimpy man. He has a history of treating women poorly. Look at the way he talked down to Heidi Ganahl when she decided that she was running for governor. He said, "Little honey, why don't you run for school board or something? Why don't you start there?" I mean, he's a very arrogant and narcissistic and misogynist man. Misogynist. Got the word right. He's not a great guy, Jared Polis, and neither is Justin Trudeau. And somebody suggested that maybe Polis can give Trudeau sanctuary. I would just rather have Polis move his ass up to Canada. Canada likes weak leadership. Maybe Jared can go up there and be the prime minister. Jared, he did have a lot of Canadian oil interest. He shut down and cracked down a lot of oil and gas industry in the state of Colorado. But it turns out that his money that was quoted in a blind trust was invested heavily in the Canadian oil and gas market. Jared Polis is a very dirty fellow in a lot of ways, and he's not a nice guy. So anyway, the Colorado legislature kicks in tomorrow. Speaking of one of the dumb things they do at the Colorado legislature is they spend a lot of money on homelessness. And if you're in Colorado, you know that homelessness is not getting better. Fox 31, you can see the headline there. Homelessness in Colorado has increased 30% in 2024. Denver reported last year that they spend between $24,000 to $73,000 per homeless person per year, and yet the homeless rate in Denver actually has gone up 10%. Statewide, it's gone up 30%. So evidently the policies of Jared Polis are not working. Evidently Jared Polis is a failure. Evidently Jared Polis sucks as bad as Justin Trudeau. But he's still the governor, and people here have elected him. But you just need to know that this is the clown, the jackwagon you have elected is a feckless little man that has done nothing but fail Colorado. If you want to see the other things that have increased in Colorado under Jared Polis, let's say the cost of living. Is there anybody out there that would like to argue that Jared Polis has made any area of Colorado better? It's really not. Jared Polis is a failed governor, like Justin Trudeau is a failed prime minister. Denver is pushing back on the homeless report, and they're saying, well, that's not really true. Here's what Denver's excuse is. The city of Denver has now said, well, people may be homeless, but that doesn't mean they're living outside. People may be homeless, but that doesn't mean we're living outside. And then there's a story that they've spent billions of dollars in Denver, millions and multi-millions of dollars, billions over the couple of years, buying up old hotels, renovating them as homeless shelters. And so when Denver hears the news that homelessness has gone up in their city and in the state of Colorado, Denver says, well, it's not that big a thing because we're putting them in houses. So they're not really, they're not shelterless, but they may be homeless. As if that makes it all better. So Jeff says our homeless rate skewed the same as the unemployment rate. That's possibility right there. Again, if they're coming from anywhere from Jared Polis, you'd have to know that in his office, you have to know there's probably some corruption and deceit going on there. And again, the legislature gets together tomorrow. Here's one more story, and then I want to do a couple of things. We'll get to Laura Carno. Carno Tuesday is back here. If you're an old radio show, you know the Carno Tuesday happens every week. One thing that, remember back Jared Polis when we had the Tre de Aragua, the gangs from Venezuela that were taking over that Aurora apartment complex in Colorado, became a national news story. Donald Trump is going to call Operation Aurora the deportation of illegals. Well, Mike Kaufman, who's a Republican, was really Donald Trump stopped saying we've not been overtaken by Venezuelans. We're not overtaken by Venezuelan gangs. Jared Polis said, hey, there's nothing to see here. That's fake video. There's no Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment complex. So Kaufman and Polis actually kind of decided to say that Trump was wrong and all the media hype was wrong. Well, it's turned out that none of it was wrong. Right before Christmas, like 16 or 17 people arrested in that same apartment complex of Venezuelan gang members where they were holding people hostage and torturing them. And so now Mike Kaufman, who's a Republican, supposedly, has come out and said, it's not our fault the Venezuelan gangs are here, which he said it wasn't a big deal. But now he's pushing back and has written an entire op-ed piece saying that it's Denver's fault. And that Denver, the city of Denver, and they border each other if you're out of state and don't know, the city of Denver is using nonprofits, and they're giving their homeless to some nonprofit crazy organizations, and the nonprofit crazy organizations are settling them in Aurora. And Kaufman, there's a whole op-ed piece. I'll put it out there on the Facebook and the Twitter that Kaufman is now calling out the idiots that run the city of Denver and say, we have a Venezuelan gang problem, and it's all your fault. So their whole story, their whole narrative pre-election, probably because of a hatred for Donald Trump and Orange Man derangement syndrome, Trump derangement syndrome, they were always saying there's not a problem in Venezuela, Venezuelan gangs in Aurora. And now Mike Kaufman says there is a problem. And Mike Johnson, the mayor of Denver, says, well, there's not a problem because of us, but you have a problem over there. And Jared Polis is hiding out, probably trying to find another way to destroy the great state of Colorado. It's in the Denver Gazette. Mike Kaufman has a great op-ed piece about that. All right, yesterday we attempted to show a piece from New Year's Eve, CNN's coverage of New Year's Eve, and we had the wrong cut of it. This morning we do. This is great, and I know we're a couple of days past New Year's Eve, but if you didn't see this, this is worth. It's been 60 seconds of just Anderson Cooper's up on the stage. They're hosting the New Year's Eve. The ball's about to drop there in New York City. And they bring a comedian up named Whitney Cummings. And this is how that exchange went New Year's Eve. If you missed it, this is just a glorious moment in CNN broadcast history. Go ahead and play that.
Couldn't hold a primary because they were too busy holding a body upright. It was amazing that the pro-choice party didn't give their voters one when it came to the presidential candidate. Kamala was forced on us so hard you'd think she was patented by Pfizer or Moderna, whichever one's. Oh God, Andy just gave me a very scary look.
No!
Let me be clear though. 2024 was not only negative. The media wants us to believe this country is so divided, but we actually came together a lot this year. Like as a nation, we unanimously agreed that we would rather see J-Lo in a toxic relationship than in concert. We all agreed the government totally knows what drones are and aren't telling us. The drones are still up there, and we have no idea what's behind them. No idea. I mean, they're still up in the sky, so I guess we can rule out that they were made by Boeing. The point is, I think we all agree on a lot of things. And since I only have a minute left live on Establishment Media, why don't we just say a bunch of things that we know that they'll never cover? Okay, ready, go. Trump shooter didn't have any silverware in his house. No one thought that was weird? Okay, are we still rolling? Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia put money into Disney, so just know there won't be any girl characters in the next Cars movie. Boy Scout of America, they renamed itself Scouting America. You know who else changed their name? Sean Combs. Just saying, let's learn something in 2025. I can't believe you guys are still letting me go. This is amazing. I love CNN. Please stop me, Andy, because I will just keep going.
Happy New Year, Whitney Cummings.
Am I still streaming?
Yes.
This is amazing.
We are live on CNN. You look cool as a cucumber.
No censorship on CNN.
Thank
love you guys.
very much.
Thanks for having me.
Love you.
What a dream. Oh, no.
What a dream.
I guarantee Anderson Cooper is screaming, why did we let it on? Why did we let that on? The party, the pro-choice, were not very pro on a primary challenge. All right, we're going to go to Laura Carno here in just a second. But I also mentioned there's a couple of ways. A lot of you, somebody mentioned again earlier, they said, great to see you again. A lot of folks are just now finding this podcast or the stream that we're doing. It's not really necessarily a podcast. It's a live stream. A lot of folks are just finding it. We're glad you're finding it. Comment. We love to see your comments. We post them on the screen. John says, great to see you again. John, glad you found me. A lot of folks just finding me yesterday. Had a friend, my friend Chip was messaging me yesterday. Are you going to do that thing? And I'm like, I've been doing the thing for 3 weeks. So I think he's tuning in this morning as well. So a couple of ways you can support the program, though. Keep it. This is free, but we don't want it to be free. We want this to be free for you. But producer Chad and I have a very expensive hobby. A lot of these things that we're doing, we're trying to build a real enterprise here and make it better and better and better and better and better. Eventually, maybe extend the time that it goes, and lots of other ideas we have screwing around in our head. But a couple of ways you can help us out. Be a subscriber to the Lakey Unleashed Patreon page, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. If you're not familiar with Patreon, that's the OnlyFans for talk show hosts. It's an OnlyFans page for talk show hosts. There's no nudity there. It's just raw thoughts and great interviews that I do there. And also the advertisers. So we got somebody reach out to me earlier and say, ready to pull the trigger on some advertising. So we'll talk later. So advertise with us. Send me info at jimmylakey.com, and the information will send you the media marketing kit. We'll get that out to you immediately via email. You make your decision. Nobody's going to come knock on your door. But it's a way to keep this podcast, or this stream that we call it, to keep it free. Go subscribe at Patreon, and you can be a business and individual. But if you'd like to have sponsorship, even naming rights of the studio, we're going to unleash. We're under construction here still. I got the hammer to remind me of that. And soon you will see something behind us that you haven't seen before as we continue to build out the House of Lakey studio. So everybody just be patient. Thanks for being here, but there's a couple of ways to do that. All right, I'm going to skip right now the Dr. Thorpe video because I'm running overtime. And I want to bring in Laura Carno. If you're familiar with Laura Carno, she's with us for many years on the radio terrestrial signal. And Laura Carno jumps onto the screen here. Good morning, Laura. How are you? Happy New Year.
Doing great. How are you?
Well, I looked at the clock and said, I guess I've been talking a long time. It said Laura's waiting patiently in the green room. Very good.
I'm so happy that you showed that CNN clip. My stepdaughter actually got married on New Year's Eve, and so I missed a whole bunch of stuff, including that. That was a brilliant clip. I loved it.
I didn't know the thing about the Trump shooter didn't have silverware in his house. That's the first I've heard of that.
Yeah. What's that about?
I got to have to look that one up. So, Laura Carno, you were always with us on the radio show, and you and I became known about this time every year as the clarion calls of common sense when it came to the Colorado legislature coming together. They start meeting, convene tomorrow, January the 8th, and through the middle of May. Everybody's freedom and money in Colorado is at risk. Are you paying attention to the Colorado legislative session that gals in tomorrow?
Yep, you're right. It starts tomorrow. The good thing is that we are safe for about 3 days, because Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be nothing but a bunch of speeches. So the governor will give his sort of state of the state. The leaders from both parties and both chambers will give their speeches, the Secretary of State, the Treasurer, the AG, all that kind of stuff. So there'll be nothing but a bunch of boring speeches. But the other thing that happens is, as soon as it's gavelled in tomorrow, all of the first round of bills will drop. So the legislators need to pick their first few bills, and they've got them all ready to go. And then they get essentially officially read into the record tomorrow. So we'll know exactly what's actually dropping. Now, there are hints out there and discussions and draft bills and all that stuff. So we do know some of the things that are going to happen. And, as you were saying, hold on to your wallet. I would say hold on to your self-defense, and hold on to your puppies, because we still have wolves being reintroduced in the state.
Yeah, Jared's. I don't know if Jared gives a rat's patootie about the wolves, but I think his man love Marlin does, and I think the pillow talk's better, and other activities may be better whenever he gives Marlin the wolves out in the wild frontier. And so, you gotta keep Marlin happy, because Marlin seems like he could be a pissy little fellow. So you gotta keep the man love happy, it looks like. So,
well, when Bill Clinton was president, there was your listeners and viewers who are old enough will remember Hillary Care, and Hillary Care was it turned into what Obamacare became. That Hillary, as First Lady at the time, was trying to push her agenda. And I really have a very similar feel here in Colorado with the governor's husband. I don't know if he's a vegetarian or a vegan, one of the two, but he's a big animal rights guy. He was the one that was behind the Meat Out proclamation, saying we should all go without meat for a day until. I'm
glad you clarified what that meant with Jared Polis and Marlon about Meat Out. I'm glad you clarified.
Stop. Stop it, Jimmy. You're incorrigible. But the agricultural producers in Colorado were saying, Governor, do you know how much meat is produced in your state and how much tax revenue comes from the production of meat and other agricultural products? So I think, like Hillary Clinton, Marlon Reese, the governor's husband, has lots of influence on his administration's policies. And so not only are you looking at what Polis himself, what his viewpoints are, but what the viewpoints are of his husband. So So we'll see what all he weighs in on
Yeah.
this coming year.
You called me incorrigible. I'm not sure I could spell it, but you called a husband I could man love. I guess I'm unleashed, Laura. I'm unleashed from the confines of corporate radio. I make my own rules up here.
I still have some tact and diplomacy, but there's no reason you need to.
I don't need to. What are they gonna do? Fire me? I guess I'll fire myself
Fire
eventually.
yourself, yeah.
That's what I'll do. One of the big things that happens in Colorado is we spend into oblivion, and the cost of living continues to go up. We think of all this money we spend. We spend money on homelessness, and yet homelessness rates have increased. We supposedly spend more because we have to fix the roads, and our highways are some of the worst in the nation. I mean, what about the state budget? Is there going to be anything cut? Is there anything going to be reappropriated to actually solve problems that the average Coloradoan has?
Well, it's adorable that you think they're going to solve problems, because that's just
I'm adorable and incorrigible.
Yeah, it's all at the same time. As you know, I believe that government ruins nearly everything, and certainly the state legislature and governor aren't different than that. But by one state estimate, I'm going to just look at my notes to make sure I get the numbers right. The state faces about a $750 million shortfall, which doesn't account for another $350 million in new law enforcement spending that voters approved in November. So it's kind of a mess. What's interesting is that the governor and lawmakers disagree about what to cut. So it's going to be fascinating to see the balancing act, not just between the governor and the legislature, but law enforcement lobby, the education lobby is going to have a lot to say about those things. And let us not forget, this is going to be the what underlies everything that Polis does this year. Is we all know that he wants to run for president in 4 years. And so is it okay with a national electorate if he, for example, signs into law a ban on semi-automatic firearms? Is it okay that he signs some of these things that might play very well in what's now a leftist state, Colorado, but may not play very well in a general electorate if he, by some magic, became the Democrat nominee for president?
I don't think I could see that happening. I think his campaign would meet the fate of other dumb and unlikable Colorado politicians like John Hickenlooper and Michael Bennett had vanity runs for the president, and that didn't go over well. I think they performed worse than probably Kamala Harris performed at that race. I mean, they were horrible candidates, but it's vanity that they run. I think Polis would do the same thing. Polis just has a bankroll. He could put some money out there. But when you look at him, I mean, you just start telling the story of Polis in Colorado. We mentioned some of the stupid stuff he's done. I mean, Jared Polis has made it. He signed into law that it is absolutely illegal for law enforcement agencies to let ICE know, hey, you have a detainer on a guy in jail for very naughty things. Local law enforcement in Colorado can literally go to jail, be arrested, and get in trouble for cooperating with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And I think that's so out of touch, and that will be one of the, the albatrosses of many that hang around the neck of Jared Polis as he wants to run for president. I mean, he's a failure. I can't think of anything he's done to make Colorado good, great, improved. Has anything improved under Polis?
No. And if I track very closely all of the gun laws since, way back in the days when we recalled some state senators over their gun control bills and their gun control votes. And we were told at the time that these will make us safer. And that was 2013. So now it's been 11 years. We can factually look back in time and say, did any of those gun control bills keep us safer? Absolutely not. Have any of these soft on crime policies that make it nice and cushy for criminals to commit their crimes and have fewer implications and fewer consequences, but put all this pressure on law-abiding citizens who aren't out there committing crimes? Has any of that made us safer? 100% no. And when you look at the message that was sent with the overwhelming election of Donald J. Trump, some of the messages in there were, nationally, we are sick of all of the crime. We are sick of all of the criminals that are coming over the border that are getting lost and then are going on to commit some crimes. That there was a very strong message, and even though Donald Trump did not win Colorado, if you break down the numbers, he did much better in Colorado than expected. He did better than he was supposed to. He did better than he had in the past. So even in Colorado, there were shifts in that direction.
One other thing that's notable in the last election, the Democrats had super majorities in both chambers of the legislature in Colorado. They no longer have that supermajority in that they used to have. Will that impact, at least give the Republicans some more ability to stop the nonsense there?
Well, stop the nonsense is a tough thing to say because the numbers are still very upside down. What the lack of a supermajority does to help the Republicans is that the Democrats will no longer be able to suspend rules at a moment's notice and keep the Republicans from filibustering, from speaking, from slowing down. So those are definitely some good things. But so folks know, there are in the House, Democrats have 43 seats to Republicans 22. So it's still very upside down. It's 23 Democrats to 12 Republicans. So still very upside down. There was, at the margins, a little bit of improvement, like you said, that kept us out of the super minority status. But a long way to go until Republicans can, just by sheer votes, stop bad things. Now, what the Republicans can do, and I would love to see a daily address by somebody in Republican legislative office, this would be a very nice organized way that they could do this, to bring to the voters, not just Republican voters but all voters, here are the crappiest things that happened today under the Gold Dome. And highlight some of the really crazy things that the Democrats are saying, because I think that the Democrat legislature is much further left than the Democrats in Colorado. And I think it would be good for Republicans to highlight that, not just so that Republicans know what's going on there, but so Democrats see who they're sending, especially with some of these folks being put in by vacancy committees that are, sort of that 100 person, party loyal group who are in charge of determining the replacements for some of these folks who have resigned.
Again, if you're just listening to the audio, that's the voice of Laura Carno. She has an organization called Faster Colorado. I know people at work that just got to stream it in their headsets. So sometimes if you don't reset the table like we did in radio, that's Laura Carno, fastercolorado.org. Speaking of a Colorado issue, one that a lot of folks are passionate about, we mentioned the wolves a couple of times. Anybody out of the state is wondering what the thing is. It's that our governor, because of the pillow talk of his husband, decided to sign a bill. The people actually voted it in, and he supported it and campaigned for it. The people voted on a bill that imported wolves from Canada, that even Justin Trudeau's like, please take these damn wolves. And they're destroying a lot of agricultural lives and livestock in rural Colorado, which is much of Colorado. And our friend Patrick Davis, Patrick was a consultant when I ran for Congress. He was my political consultant. Has been in the Trump administration before, but he's looking to repeal the wolf introduction idiocy.
God bless Patrick Davis on this. I saw that my friend Stan Vanderwerf, former county commissioner from El Paso County, is one of the ballot proponents on this. The name of the other person, I don't recall. I don't know the person, but I think it's a Western Slope County commissioner. So, and this is the only thing that's going to solve this problem. Out of 64 counties, only 13 counties in Colorado were responsible for the passage of this ballot initiative. And it won't surprise your listeners and viewers to know that it was like Denver County and Boulder County, counties that aren't going to be impacted by this at all. And it is absolutely devastating the agricultural producers, the ranchers all across the state. And there are all kinds of things that the state is doing to say, okay, well, if a wolf kills your livestock, then we will compensate you. How about not bringing wolves here to kill the livestock? So a repeal ballot initiative is the only way to do this. And folks should go to smartwolfpolicyco.com, smartwolfpolicyco.com. And I messaged Patrick when I saw this, and I said, do you have people who can come speak to meetings? Because there are so many civic meetings and political meetings and that sort of thing all across the state. It's actually smartwolfpolicyco.com. Yeah, there's a CO in there. But so if you have a a civic group that meets for a lunch once a month or something, consider going to that website and ask if they can have somebody come talk to your group. This is such an important issue that, again, I think the whole initial ballot measure was pushed by the governor's husband, who wanted to see the cute wolves running around killing livestock because he's not a fan of beef and pork and lamb and all that kind of stuff being eaten.
He wants the wolves to eat it, but not the humans. That's kind of fun.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's bad for us somehow. But so where it is in process right now is it goes before what's called the title board. When you are, before you start gathering signatures on an initiative, you have to go to the Secretary of State's office and say, okay, we want the title to look like this. And then there's a hearing, and these title board commissioners say, well, you should have a the instead of the a, or whatever. They mess around with the wording to make sure that it's very clear, it adheres to single subject, all of those kind of things that are important. So I'll absolutely be keeping an eye on this one because I think it's very important to the state. Scott says, turn them loose in Aspen, Vale, and Boulder. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Scott.
The old, not in my backyard. Yeah,
right.
I'll vote for this. Those little ranchers, those gun grabbing ranchers, they can handle it themselves, but don't let them take care of it. Laura Carno, it's a pleasure. We'll keep a sharp eye on the legislature. Fastercolorado.org, fastercolorado.org. Folks can support your great organization, helping to defend the schools. And I know the last legislative session, they were trying to make it harder for schools to protect the kids. You're going to have to keep a sharp eye on that one as well.
Yes, my hope is that we brought enough of a fight to the issue last year that they're not going to want to do that again, is our hope. But you just never know what's going to happen. So we've got a sharp eye on it for sure.
Jared Polis and these, they're crazy. They're bat crap crazy, and we'll keep an eye on it. Laura Carno, we'll do it again. Laura Carno's back for Carno Tuesday, and somebody just said, glad the team of Lakey and Carno continues with the new format. Thank you, Christopher.
Yeah, thanks, Christopher. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Laura came out of retirement for the new format. She had retired from the old format, but now that she found out that we could actually see each other, she decided this would be. She said, "I'll do it again." I'll do it again.
Well, I want to see the new background when it's revealed.
It's coming. It's coming soon. That. I've got a hammer here. Right as soon as I'm going to be hammering some stuff. I'm not even allowed. They took the hammer away from me earlier. Said, "Don't touch the hammer. Like you're not talented at that. You can talk, but don't touch the hammer." Laura Carno, happy New Year to you. We'll talk again very soon. Laura Carno. .com. All right, let's change up the pace here. A lot of you tuning in. If you're new to the show, glad to have you here. We go about an hour here, so we're kind of reaching there. But yesterday we went a long time. But Laura Carno joins us every Tuesday at about 8:30 the Mountain Time Zone, and we'll do a lot of Colorado issues with Laura. A lot of you say, Jimmy, is this only going to be a national program? We're centralized in Colorado, but we do want to keep Colorado's issues at forefront. But obviously, we have people tuning in across the nation, and so we'll try to address and straddle both sides of that fence there. All right, I want to play the audio of producer Chad, the Rivers Promise video that we have queued up, just a change of pace rather than me being a talking head as I have been for the last 54 minutes. Last week, you know that I was in Africa, and you'll hear me talk about my charity organization. Matter of fact, you'll see my little shirt has my logo on it, Rivers Promise Hope for Children. And last week we were there, and our primary purpose is not building houses. We send kids to school, we educate them. But occasionally we find a need in Africa in which it's a dire need. It's a big time need. It's a sad need in which you have a woman who's homeless, and a lot of times she's taking care of kids or grandkids, orphans. They're all living like under banana leaves or trying to find shelter every night. And so we met a lady named Rose back in November, and you might have seen the videos of me announcing to Rose. She fell on her knees and lifted her hands and thanked to God that she was going to get a house. She was a survivor of the Rwandan genocide. So in November, I laid the first brick of that home. Now, again, we're not out soliciting homes all the time. If we have a need, we let people know. We really want to send kids to school. But again, you have a woman taking care of kids, and they're sleeping under open sky. It's hard for them to learn when they're going to school soaking wet. Their school supplies get wet. It's a real mess. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to watch this video. This is the groundbreaking. You'll see the before and after photos of me. And last week we handed Rose the key to her home, and she was so excited, and this captures some of it, and you will hear her testimony. Again, the charity work I do is Rivers Promise. I'll explain that a little bit more in just a second. Got more content for you, more stolen memes coming up. But this is from last week in Rwanda, Rose getting the key to her home. You'll see the photos from November, before and after. Roll tape. That's before. Laying the bricks. Here's the finished. It's Jimmy in Rwanda with Rivers Promise, and this is Rose. Introduced you to her a while back, but let me do it again. Her name is Rose, and she's a survivor of the Rwandan genocide, and virtually has been homeless ever since. She's occasionally lived at a neighbor's house or maybe at a school, but she's a homeless lady, and she's never had a home of her own until now. Some of our great donors, one of our great donors, put together the budget to build the house we have behind us, and Rose just now unlocked the door for the first time. We gave her keys. Rose, you have a new house. How does it make you feel?
Rosa, ubu ufite inzu nshyashya urumva umeze ute?
Ndabashimiye.
I thank you so much.
Batangiriye.
Last time you came was the starting of building the house.
Ndabashimiye kuba yuzuye.
Thank you for this precious gift that you provide to me. A very beautiful house. A very beautiful house. A gift from you. God bless you so much. May God bless you and give you the opportunity to build some more house for widows. God bless you for helping widows. God bless you so much. Thank you for providing me a precious house. God bless you so much.
Thank you.
This new house is a gift for me and for my grandchildren. We will no longer suffer from rain. We will no longer suffer from sun. Kids are going to live well. Thank you so much for this house.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Well, there you have it. That was Rose's house. That was last week in Rwanda. Again, we don't solicit a house building. If that's something you're called and feel led to do, contact me. But if you want to donate, it's really just about the children. And as you know, we did the show from Rwanda. We're going to be doing more shows from Rwanda on a regular basis. We will. We're going to do that. And again, if you want to sponsor a kid, donate to our charity work. It's riverspromise.org, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.org. And love to have you participate with our charity work there. As I always say, I don't know what it is that you are what you're called to do, but do something to be generous as you can. If you got a couple of bucks, give it to your church. First of all, give it to your church. I always say that, give it to your church. And then after that, find those organizations and the causes you like. And if Africa speaks to you, then hey, feel free to do so. And if you want to ever go with me to Africa, let me know, and we put trips together on a regular basis. All right, one more time. I want to play. This is on my Patreon page. One way you can support this daily update now is to subscribe at Patreon. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. You subscribe there. It's $9.95 a month. You're going to get exclusive content. Yesterday, one of the interviews that dropped was an interview with Dr. John Thorpe, and he was talking about the gimmicks that were happening back during what we call the Booger Cooney virus during the COVID days, and some of the things that were happening that were causing some doctors to be silenced and other doctors to be fired because they had a different viewpoint on the science of the time. This is just a quick snip for Dr. John Thorpe. This is behind the paywall. I'm going to show you a snippet of it, but you got to watch the whole. It's a fiery interview. This guy, as we said, is a firecracker, man. He was on fire in this interview. He's very passionate, and this is just a snippet of it. This is at the beginning of the interview. You ought to hear when he really gets going. It gets really good. Okay, this is behind the paywall. Go subscribe. You can watch it. It's patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. Here is a snippet of Dr. John Thorpe, my interview with him.
Everybody off by money. Over $5.5 trillion was spent. And even the New York Times and Washington Post, even these liberal rags, don't know and cannot account where it went. I'll tell you where it went. My research team has published extensively on it. It went to bribe every single thread of the fabric of our society to enter into these quid pro quo arrangements, quid pro quo, called cooperative care agreements, where these are medical organizations, hospitals, pharmacies, churches, individuals of prominence, mainstream media, and they were allowed to keep the money without paying it back as long as they did not deviate from the narrative. That's exactly why many physicians, including myself, who spoke out, I was fired from SSM Health July 29th, 2023. I was heralded as a model physician for this massive Catholic healthcare system, yet the CEO, Laura Kaiser, and one of her underlings called me into the office and said, hey, we have to let you go. You've been a model physician, but we have to let you go. No cause. And by the way, if you sign this agreement, we'll give you 90. They tried to bribe me with a non-disclosure or non-disparagement clause. I said, no, thank you. And I was allowed 120 days of work with pay because I didn't take the bribe. They fired me on the spot. They had to, otherwise because they took $306.9 million, they would have had to pay that back if they didn't fire me. These people knew, these hospital administrators knew. I fed them the data that they were killing and injuring their employees and their patients. They didn't care.
That's it. Exclusive content. He brings the receipts. That's Dr. John Thorpe. He brings the receipts. He talks about what was known, what was not known. He talks about the lies that we were told. And you got to watch that. It's behind a paywall. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. It's a free subscription. You can subscribe, but to watch, and you also, if you just subscribe on the free level, all these shows upload there, and you can watch these shows if you miss one of the day, all at one location. Of course, they store it all the Facebook and the Twitter and the X and the YouTube as well. But if the Patreon's kind of a central hub for all things from the House of Lakey, but to get behind the paywall to see that Dr. Thorpe interview, it's a 7-day free subscription, and then it's at $9.95 a month, and I think you're going to enjoy the content. We got some things in the works there. There's already great content there, already great content, and there's a lot of truth that you have not been told by the little effer. That's what we call the Fouch, and Dr. Burks, the scarf. That's how we refer to them. And there's a lot of truth you were not told. And it's like that comedian on CNN. Go back and watch her reference to they were pushing Kamala so hard it's like she was patented by Moderna and Pfizer. So that's on the CNN late show. All right, one more thing. I mentioned my charity, and I want to show you this photo. This is my son and I. If you don't know the story behind my charity work, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com. That's my son, River. He was adopted from Rwanda. That's the work in Rwanda. When he was just a small child before he remembers leaving there, I made a promise that I wanted to take care of all of his friends. I never wanted him to look back at a photo of his earliest friends and say, Daddy, what happened to them? And I said, I don't know. They just got you out of an orphanage. So I took care of his friends. And we closed up the orphanage, got those kids all in the Rwandan adoptive homes. And my son is now, he left the country there. I met him when he was 2.5, left the country there when he was 3.5. My son just turned 20. And he's a big muscular kid. He plays college football. And he's been injured, but he's at a little D1 school, a little school out of Missouri, recovering from an injury. Good Lord willing, he'll be ready for spring football. Blew his knee out his first season. So Anyway, that's my son. We're standing in front of the school. He's very proud of the work that we do, and he's won awards at his college for, they call it his charity, and that's fine. It really is all about him, and that's him and I last week in Rwanda, standing in front of phase 1 of our school. Chris says Rivers look amazing and love the smile. We're going to be announcing soon, anybody feels so led, big capital campaign. We're going to finish up the rest of that campus. So anyway, so yeah, that's River and I last week in front of the school. And so if you ever wonder why we have it River's Promise, why I push it so much and talk about it, it's because I made a promise and I don't break my promises. All right. So yeah, coming up soon, we'll be announcing a big capital campaign expense. We have a heck of a load of matching funds that have come in, and I've got to match them. And we're going to build out the rest of that campus here real soon. So stay tuned for that. Riverspromise.org. All right, let's go to the stolen meme section of the day. Here we have the stolen memes. Do we still have the one about the blizzards, the snow? Listen, it looks like out the windows here in the studio, the snow has stopped. But if you're praying for snow in a blizzard, just get your butt to Dairy Queen. Stop it. I don't like this snow. I do not like it. I shall not go. I feel like Dr. Seuss right now. If you're praying for a blizzard, stop praying for a blizzard. Go to Dairy Queen or go to the mountains, but don't pray for a blizzard here in Colorado. Now, again, a lot of you out of state, you're saying, oh, that snow is so pretty, though. I have relatives in Texas. Oh, the snow is so beautiful. I'm like, yeah, it is the first 2 or 3 weeks you're here. And then after that, first 2 or 3 years even. And then after that, you realize you got to drive in it. You got to shovel a driveway. You stop it. Stop praying for snow and blizzard. Give me a postcard. All right, let's put up the Kermit the Frog one. I like this one. It kind of goes to that Dr. Thorpe interview. Kermit the Frog here has a few thoughts for the new year. I think we have that one. I wonder if all the people that were unfriending me and calling me a bad person and conspiracy theorist back in 2019, I wonder if they've rethought their actions, and I wonder if they've decided that maybe they were wrong. Maybe Kermit the Frog is not there. We don't have Kermit? Well, which one do we have? Bring up the next one then. Bring up the next one. I'll follow you. Producer Chad. Oh, here, Steve Byrne. We have this one. Trump is getting flack for inviting China's Xi Jinping to his inauguration. Steve Byrne's a great comedian. He says, I'm not sure why. It's a tradition to have the previous president oversee the transition. Let that one sink in. If you don't follow Steve Byrne on the Twitter or the Instagram, you should. He's really, really funny. All right, Chad, which ones do you have next here? Bring up the stolen meme section of the show. George Washington crosses this is Christmas history for you. Listen, George Washington crosses the Delaware to kill government officials in their sleep because they taxed his tea at 3%. That's a true fact. They tax my tea at 3%. And just think, tomorrow the Colorado legislature is going to go in place, and they're going to find stupider things than taxing tea at 3% with Jared Polis. So, yeah, George Washington. There's a little history lesson for you. Historian John P. Cole would be very happy if he's out there in the audience watching it. All right, Producer Chad, I'm not sure which one other the assets you have. Pull it up and let's see what we have. We'll fly by the seat of our pants. Social media behemoth. Oh, the ends of fact check. This is another stolen meme section. This is this is back to the news. Anybody see this story? Zuckerberg has come to a senses. He elevated a guy that was in the Bush administration in the Meta organization, and he chose Dana White for his board of directors. Dana White was a big Trump supporter. And so this isn't really a stolen meme. This is just a headline of the day. But it looks like Mark Zuckerberg might have had a come to Jesus meeting, because he's put Dana White is now on the board of directors for Meta, and Dana White's not a big censorship fan. So yeah. There we go. I'll follow your lead, Producer Chad. Do you have any more memes up there for us, or are we winding them down? We only can fit so many in the studio. Well, let's see what he's got there. The 4 reasons we aren't offended. On the list, I don't see it. I don't think we have that one. Okay, we don't have the 4 reasons you're not offended. How about Ketanji Brown Jackson? Do we have Ketanji Brown Jackson? Okay, we don't have that one. That's all right. There we go. 4 reasons we aren't soft and offended by everything. Those of you that grew up when I grew up, there you have the 4 reasons we are not offended by everything on the planet. Right there. Fred Sanford, Archie Bunker, you get the idea. You got George Jefferson. I forgot the guy's name on the right, but I remember the show. Was that What's Happening? I think he had J.J. Walker. What's up? The dynamite. That's what he said. But yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure out there. I think we've extended all the memes we have there. What's one nice thing that you can say about Joe Biden? And you guys have been great on that. Reviewing some of the answers on the question of the day. One nice thing. Some people say he has nice hair. He says, I like of Jeff says, I like Joe Biden's sense of freedom and obliviousness. He forgets things very well. He slurs his words very well. I think that's very, very good that you say that. What else do we have? Some of you have said he has nice hair plugs. We've had that. He has beautiful teeth. Joe Biden has nice teeth. So yeah, Joe Biden's leaving Washington, D.C. That's a very nice thing. So again, if you ever say that these conservatives are mean and just cruel and unusual to the old demented Joe, listen, we're complimenting Joe this morning. Trudeau leaving office will give him more fishing time with his buddy to the south of Tim Walz there. So to the south, Tim Walz there. So he can do that. I like Joe Biden's return to civilian life so he can publicly poop his pants without the tax-funded paparazzi. So that's true. He can poop himself and do it in more privacy than what he gets to do now. All right, keep those nice things about Joe Biden coming. Here's a nice thing about Joe Biden. Goodbye, Joe. Goodbye, Joe. Goodbye, Joe. Goodbye, Joe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you, thanks for tuning into the program. If you're interested in advertising, the spots, so we hope will fill up soon. And some of these advertising levels are only one person, one business, or one person per level. So get in here on the ground floor. It's called the Founding Fathers Package, and that will secure your advertising rate. Even as this thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you'd want to make sure that you are on the ground floor of the program, and I'd appreciate it helping us get going. And so please, please, please support us. Go to Patreon, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. And here's one. A good thing about Joe Biden, he's leaving. See, we're so positive about Joe. See, we don't have to be mean to old demented Joe. You just got to call it like it is. He's leaving office. It's a very good thing about Joe. See, we're saying nice things about Joe Biden. We're all niceties all the time. I want to remind you, coming up January the 20th, inauguration morning, we are going to be in Lafayette, Colorado. Fly in from out of town if you must. Get yourself a hotel room. Stay in the homeless shelters. We have plenty of those in Colorado. Join us at Casbar Cigar in Lafayette, Colorado for the inauguration on January the 20th. January the 20th, Inauguration Day. We're going to have a party. There will be cigars available and obviously partaking, and it's going to be a celebratory moment. January the 20th in Lafayette, Colorado. If you're not familiar with Colorado or where Lafayette's at, maybe you're down in Colorado Springs. It's on the north end of the metro area, kind of head towards Boulder. You're going to head out towards around the loop around the city from the airport or I-25. Head out towards Boulder on U.S. Highway 36, and then you'll take an exit to Lafayette, and you're out that direction. So between Denver and Boulder is Lafayette. So if you come see us January the 20th, the seating's going to be, we're expecting, I could be wrong, but we think we're going to have a huge crowd there. And it's not a giant place, but it's a good-sized place. There's plenty of seating, but get there early. There'll be a lot of milling around and standing and watching the televisions, but it's going to be a big-time party. And maybe I'll bring a box of donuts. I'm not promising anything, but we'll see. It's just going to come have fun with us. And inauguration in the Mountain Time Zone will be 10 a.m., noon on the Eastern Time Zone. So we're going to get started about 8 o'clock. This show will broadcast live from the Casbar Cigar in Lafayette, Colorado. Look it up and come see us. And there's no RSVP. There's no ticket required. It's just first come, first serve. So get there, and the doors will open just before 8 o'clock, and we'll start the program. All right? It's been a pleasure. So let us know if you have questions about that. If you want to advertise, info at Jimmy Lakey. Also, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. All right, whatever platform you've watched this program on today, will you share it? Would you like it? Would you participate with us? Tell your friends about it. We want to continue to grow the Lakey Network. Like and subscribe on YouTube. That pisses off the Silicon Valley crowd. When you like the YouTube page, we appreciate you doing that. And for all of you watching on the Instagram throughout the morning, a lot of come and go on the Instagram. A lot of you on the Facebook pages. I'm looking at the numbers here. A lot of folks on the Twitter. We got a. And our counters here are not real accurate because we're interacting with several servers. But it looks like the. Let's see. You should make cigar purchase a requirement. I'm not making the rules. I'm just broadcasting a show. That's what I'm doing. I expect everyone is going to buy a cigar. Well, we did this. I did this 8 years ago at the same location when I was on terrestrial radio. And a lot of folks came aren't cigar smokers. They just came for the fun. And that's fine, too. It's a good thing. All right. Let's see. Thank you, Dr. Thorpe, for praying for you. And we say exposure to all the lies that have been going on. And wow, your son River, glory to God. I agree. So yeah, go watch that video with Dr. Thorpe. He's a firecracker, man. He is on fire. He's on fire. Can't believe my son's 20. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this thing up today. Tomorrow morning, I'll give you a little tease. We'll be back here. Like and share the broadcast, the podcast, the stream, whatever you want to call it. Tomorrow we will have Doug Giles. Anybody remember Doug from the radio days? My brother from a different mother? Doug Giles will be on the program. He has agreed to a regular slot on the show. He will be with us every Wednesday morning. Doug Giles kicks into 2025 next week. And also Steve Laffey back with us as well. So we got the whole gang back together. The whole gang is back together from the radio show. And if you liked my guest on the radio show, you're going to love the guest now. But Doug Giles tomorrow morning, don't miss that. All right, everybody. Again, info@jimmylakey.com. If you'd like to advertise tomorrow, Doug Giles, Steve Laffey, other guests coming up. You just don't want to miss. Every morning, 8 o'clock, we go live, and Mountain Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And we go about an hour until we're done, but I think we're wrapping it up for the day. Hey, everybody, I thank you for being a part of the program today. Thanks for all the comments. Keep those comments coming, and do me a favor, support us on Patreon, advertise with us if you can, and do all the things I said. Donate to the charity, all these things you can help out, and you're helping great causes all the way around. And also share. Use the hashtag Lakey Unleashed out there. You are an ambassador. I deputize you in the name of Andy Griffith and Barney Fife. I deputize you to be an ambassador of the House of Lakey. All right? So spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell your mother. Tell people that tell people that the Lord himself told you. I mean, don't get struck with lightning or anything, but tell them that the Lord told you to they should listen to the program. I'll see you tomorrow. I think I might have blasphemed. God bless you. God bless America. Tomorrow morning, Steve Laffey, Doug Giles, here with me, Jimmy Lakey. Until we meet again, may God bless you. May God bless America. I am Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here. You know, producer chat, since we ended the show, there's not been one darn person leave. I think I saw the number go down by one. What are you people waiting for? Don't you have things to do? Do you have jobs, responsibilities? I'm telling you, I don't know. I don't know what to think of you people. Okay, 2 people just left. Class is dismissed. Run along.